Please subscribe, like, and share. It really helps us out. And of course, if you have any questions, comment below, and we will answer you as soon as we can. Welcome to this video in our series on IGCSE Business Studies. This is Unit 1, Part 4. In today's lesson, we will be learning about types of business organizations. If you haven't seen our previous videos, click on the card above. So, you want to start a business? Great idea. An entrepreneur combines and organizes resources in a firm for the purpose of carrying out productive activity or business. Firms are therefore also known as business organizations. A firm may take a number of legal forms depending on how it is owned, controlled, and financed. But first, let's talk about financial liability.
Owning a business involves financial risk. There is no getting around this. But, your financial risk depends on how you have structured your business. First, let's talk about unlimited liability. The financial obligation of business owners in the event of business failure is to repay all business debts, even if it means selling off their personal possessions. Next, let's talk about limited liability. The financial obligation of business owners for business debts is no more than the amount of capital they invested in the enterprise. This is because business owners with limited liability have a separate legal identity from their business.
Let's talk about the first type of business organization: the sole trader. A sole trader or sole proprietorship is a business owned and controlled by one person. It is the oldest and most popular form of business organization. The advantages are, a sole trader is his or her own boss. A sole trader can choose his or her own hours of work. A sole trader receives all profits. This type of business is easy to set up. The disadvantages are, a sole trader may lose revenue if off sick or on holiday. Has unlimited liability to pay business debts. Has full responsibility for the business. May lack capital to finance business growth.
Next, let's talk about partnerships. A partnership is a legal agreement between two or more people to own, finance, and run a business. It is popular among professionals such as solicitors, accountants, veterinary surgeons. Some of the advantages are, a partnership is easy to set up. More partners means more capital. Partners bring new skills and ideas. Limited partners have limited liability. Partners share responsibility for decisions. Some of the disadvantages are, partners can disagree. Partners share any profits. General partners have unlimited liability. Partners may lack capital to finance growth.
Moving on, let's talk about joint stock companies. These companies sell shares in their ownership to raise permanent capital. This capital is non-repayable. Shareholders are the owners of joint stock companies. Shareholders elect directors to run their company from a day-to-day point of view. These firms are also known as corporations or limited companies because shareholders have limited liability. A joint stock company has a separate legal identity from its owners. It is taxed separately, it can own assets and borrow money in its own right, it can be held legally responsible for any damage or injury to third parties.
The joint share companies that you need to know about are, firstly, private limited companies. Some of the advantages to this type of company are, shareholders have limited liability. Shareholders receive dividends from profits. Shareholders elect directors to manage company. The company has a separate legal identity. It is a popular form of organization for sole traders and partnerships seeking to raise additional finance for business expansion. Some of the disadvantages are, financial information may have to be disclosed. Large shareholders can outvote others. Directors may run the business in their own interests rather than for shareholders. Shares can only be sold privately and with the agreement of all other shareholders.
The other joint share companies that you need to know about is public limited companies. Some of the advantages to this type of company are: shareholders have limited liability. Shareholders receive dividends from profits. Shareholders elect directors to manage the company. Companies have a separate legal identity. Shares can be advertised and sold publicly on the stock market to raise significant new capital. Some of the disadvantages are: the legal costs of setup can be high. Annual financial accounts must be published. Directors may run the business in their own interests rather than for shareholders. The original owners may also lose control of their company if it is taken over by another company through the purchase of shares on the stock market.
Now let's talk about multinationals. A multinational is a firm that operates in more than one country but will usually have its headquarters based in its country of origin. Multinationals are some of the largest companies in the world, selling many billions of dollars worth of goods and services, and employing many thousands of people globally. They have a huge global customer base and revenue potential. They can minimize transport costs locating plants across different countries to be near raw materials or large consumer markets. They can minimize wage costs by locating operations in low-wage economies. They have low average production costs from large-scale production. It can raise significant capital for business expansion, R&D, and to employ highly skilled labor. Examples are Shell and Walmart.
What are the implications for host economies and governments? Potential economic benefits are: a multinational provides jobs and incomes. It brings business knowledge, skills, and technologies which can help other firms. It pays taxes on its profits which help boost government revenues. It increases export earnings from trade. Potential economic costs are: a multinational can transfer their profits to other countries to avoid paying tax. It may force local competition out of business. It may exploit workers in low-wage economies. It may use its power to secure generous subsidies and tax breaks from a government.
Only 2 more to go. I'll try to make these short. Next is cooperatives. A cooperative is owned by its members for mutual benefit. There is a one-member, one-vote policy. In a worker cooperative, workers own all the shares. It is managed by its workers. Workers have limited liability. Workers share any profits. In a retail cooperative, it is owned by its members. Managers run the organization. Owners have limited liability. Members receive profits. An example is Fonterra in New Zealand.
Thank you for watching our video. Please like, subscribe and share. And comment below so we can clarify things for you.